Welcome back to Ancient Asian Legends. I'm your host, Mei Li Soon. As we continue our journey through the Tang Dynasty, we find ourselves amidst a tale of celestial drama and imperial danger. Let's dive into the next chapter of our story, where Emperor Taizong faces the consequences of a promise made in dreams. Chapter 20. Death of the Dragon King. Previously on Ancient Asian Legends, the Dragon King attempted to deceive a fortune teller in Chang'an, leading to an impending clash with celestial laws. After altering the predicted weather to discredit Yuan Shucheng, the fortune teller, the Dragon King faces exposure and begs for forgiveness. Yuan gazed at the distraught Dragon King and said,
I cannot save you directly, but I can point you toward a path of survival.
Please, instruct me.
Tomorrow at noon, you are to be executed by Wei Zheng, the human judge. If you value your life, you must hurry to appeal to Emperor Taizong of the Tang Dynasty. Wei Zheng is a minister under the emperor. Only by seeking the emperor's favor can you hope to escape this fate.
Hearing this, the Dragon King bowed tearfully and departed. As night fell, the Dragon King of the Jing River didn't return to his watery palace. He hovered in the air, waiting until around midnight. He took the form of a cloud as he approached the imperial palace gates. At that moment, Emperor Taizong was dreaming of walking outside the palace in the moonlit garden. Suddenly, the Dragon King transformed into human form, knelt before him, and cried,
Your Majesty, save me, please, I beg you.
Who are you to interrupt my sleep? I'm an emperor. How can I save you?
Your Majesty is a true dragon, while I am a lesser dragon. I have violated heaven's laws and am to be executed by your minister Wei Zheng. I implore you to spare my life.
If Wei Zheng is to execute you, I can indeed save you. After all, Wei Zheng serves at my pleasure. Go in peace.
Overjoyed, the Dragon King bowed in gratitude and left. When Taizong awoke, the dream lingered in his mind. As dawn approached, he held court, gathering his civil and military officials. The grand hall bustled with activity, filled with the splendor of imperial China. Attendants with lanterns and palace maids with fans stood in pairs. Officials in caps and robes bowed before the emperor's crown. Palace flowers bloomed brilliantly, and a heavenly scent wafted through the halls. The royal path divided high and low-ranking officials, though all prayed for the emperor to rule for 10,000 years. Emperor Taizong's sharp eyes scanned the assembly, noting the presence of prominent government ministers and military commanders. However, one man was conspicuously absent: Wei Zheng. The emperor called his advisor, Shu Shiji, forward and recounted his strange dream to Shu. Shu advised,
This dream bears significance, Your Majesty. When Wei Zheng arrives, do not let him leave. If you can keep him here for a day without letting Wei Zheng sleep, you may be able to save the dragon you saw in your dream.
Delighted, Taizong immediately ordered Wei Zheng to be summoned. Meanwhile, Wei Zheng was at home. He had received a celestial decree to go to sleep at noon and in his dreams execute the Dragon King. Zheng was preparing himself spiritually for the bloody task when the imperial summons arrived. Hastily, Wei Zheng made his way to the palace. Upon arrival, he groveled before the emperor, begging forgiveness for his tardiness. Taizong dismissed his apology and engaged Wei Zheng in discussions of state affairs. As noon approached, the emperor suggested a game of chess. Palace attendants brought the board and pieces and set them on the imperial table. As they played, noon approached. Suddenly, Wei Zheng fell asleep, his head resting on the game board. Taizong, amused, said,
My loyal minister, your tireless efforts to support the dynasty have clearly exhausted you. Rest. I shall not wake you.
When Wei Zheng awoke, he was mortified.
Your Majesty, I deserve death for such disrespect. I was overcome by drowsiness and lost awareness. Please punish me for my offense against imperial dignity.
You have committed no offense to me. You must have been quite tired. Let's clear the board and start a new game.
Just as they were about to resume, a commotion erupted outside. Qin Shubao and Xu Maogong burst in, carrying a bloody dragon's head. They threw it before the emperor, exclaiming,
Your Majesty, we've seen dry seas and empty rivers, but never such a strange occurrence.
Startled, Taizong asked Wei Zheng,
What is the meaning of this?
It was I who executed the dragon in my dream, Your Majesty.
But you were asleep. I watched you. You were motionless and did not have any weapons. How could you behead this dragon?
My body remained before you, Your Majesty, but my spirit left on a divine cloud. The dragon was bound at the execution platform. I told him, You have violated heaven's laws and must die. I carry out heaven's will in ending your life. Though the dragon pleaded, I steeled myself. As he submitted, retracting claws and scales, I raised my blade. With one swing, the dragon's head fell from the sky.
Taizong listened, his heart a mix of pride and sorrow. He praised Wei Zheng's exceptional abilities, yet he grieved for the dragon he had promised to save in his dream. Composing himself, the emperor ordered the dragon's head to be displayed in the city. He rewarded Wei Zheng, and the court dispersed. That night, unable to shake his unease, Taizong retired to his chambers. But his rest was short-lived. At the second watch, he heard wailing outside the palace gates. In his fitful sleep, he saw the Dragon King holding his severed head, crying,
Emperor Taizong, bring me back to life. You promised to save me, yet you let Wei Zheng execute me. Come out, come out. Let us go to King Yama and settle this matter.
The Dragon King's ghostly hands grasped at Taizong, who struggled in terror, drenched in sweat. Just as all seemed lost, a radiant figure appeared from the south, the Bodhisattva Guanyin. With a wave of her willow branch, she banished the dragon spirit, which retreated towards the northwest. Guanyin, hearing the ghostly wails of the dragon, had intervened to save the emperor from the vengeful dragon spirit. Taizong awoke, shouting,
Ghosts! Ghosts!
His cries alarmed the entire palace. As dawn broke, the court officials gathered, anxiously awaiting news of the emperor's condition. Days passed without Taizong holding court, leaving his subjects increasingly worried about his health. Finally, the Empress Dowager issued an edict summoning imperial physicians to treat the emperor. The doctors emerged with grave news.
His Majesty's pulse is erratic, weak yet rapid. He speaks of seeing ghosts. We fear he has gone mad. He may not last more than a week.
The officials were shocked and dismayed by this dire prognosis. Amidst the turmoil, another imperial edict summoned Xu Maogong, the Duke Protector of the nation, and General Yu Qigong to the emperor's chambers. Taizong, struggling to sit up, addressed them.
My loyal subjects, I led armies at 19, conquering in all directions, enduring countless hardships. Never once did I encounter supernatural forces, yet now I am besieged by ghosts.
Your Majesty has vanquished countless foes in building this empire. Why fear mere ghosts?
You don't understand. Every night spirits hurl tiles and stones outside my chambers, wailing incessantly. The days are bearable, but the nights are unbearable.
Your Majesty, allow General Hu Jingdu and me to stand guard tonight. We shall see what ghostly mischief dares to approach.
Taizong agreed. As night fell, the two generals donned their armor and took their positions outside the imperial chambers. They cut impressive figures. Their golden helmets were gleaming bright, and their dragon-scale armor was shining. These heroic veterans, once great warriors, now stood as faithful guardians of the emperor. The two generals stood vigilant through the night, yet no ghostly disturbances occurred. Come morning, Taizong, having enjoyed his first peaceful night in days, lavishly rewarded them, but urged them to rest, promising to call upon them again that evening. For 2 or 3 nights, this arrangement brought peace to the palace. However, the emperor's appetite waned, and his illness worsened. Reluctant To further burden his loyal generals, Taizong summoned court painters to capture the likeness of the generals Qin and Hu. He had their portraits hung on the palace doors, hoping their imposing images alone would ward off evil spirits. This strategy seemed effective for a few days, but then, one night, a great clamor arose from the rear palace gate. Tiles and bricks clattered noisily, once again disturbing the emperor's rest. The next morning, Taizong lamented to his ministers.
While the front gate has been quiet, now the rear gate is besieged. This turmoil will surely be the death of me.
Shu Maogong suggested.
Your Majesty, if Generals Qin and Hu guard the front, perhaps Minister Wei Zheng should guard the rear.
Taizong agreed and summoned Wei Zheng for this duty. That night, Wei Zheng took his post at the rear gate, armed with the same sword he had used to execute the dragon. He cut an impressive figure as he scanned the horizon in all directions, daring any evil spirit to approach. The night passed without incident, yet the emperor's condition continued to deteriorate. Emperor Taizong grew so weak that the Empress Dowager was compelled to summon the ministers to discuss funeral arrangements. As Taizong prepared himself for death, Wei Zheng approached, grasping the emperor's robe.
Your Majesty, take heart. I have a way to ensure your long life.
My illness has reached my very core. How can you possibly save me now?
I have written to my old friend Sui Jue, who is now a judge in the underworld. If you take this letter to him, he will surely allow your return to the world of the living.
Taizong took the letter and tucked it into his sleeve. Then, closing his eyes, the emperor breathed his last breath. The residents of the imperial palace were overtaken by grief. Empresses, concubines, princes, and officials all donned white mourning clothes. The emperor's body was placed in the White Tiger Hall and awaited funeral rites. Will Wei Zheng's letter save Emperor Taizong's soul? Can the Tang ruler return from the realm of the dead? Tune in next time to Ancient Asian Legends to uncover the fate of the emperor and the mysterious workings of the afterlife. Today's episode, based on Wu Cheng'en's 1592 classic Journey to the West, was adapted by Mei Li Soon, edited by Matthew Bohr, featuring original music by Samuel F. Johans, Asha Danielian, and Studio Columna. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or YouTube by searching Ancient Asian Legends for highlights of each episode. Can a mere letter sway the judgment of the afterlife's rulers? Will Emperor Taizong cheat death itself? Dare to witness Emperor Taizong's fate unfold in our next thrilling episode of Ancient Asian Legends. Until then, take care and stay enchanted.